Welcome to Dragonfly Trading. My name is Carrie, and I'm a full-time Elliott Wave trader in the crypto and Forex markets. Today's video is going to be a quick update on Bitcoin, mainly on the lower time frame, and we're going to go over ETH. Remember, this is not financial advice. This is just the way that I see the market, and I intend to trade it. If you are interested in becoming a professional trader yourself and learning my entire system, that is not just Elliott Wave, the link is in the description below for the Discord. If you are an experienced trader and you're just looking for live stream every day that is recorded and also the updates that I update regular in the TA channel, there's also a membership for you. All right, let's get started. So the one thing that I need to go over is something that I need to correct from last video. I got to looking at this diagonal and it came to the realization that I made a mistake here. The one mistake is I said in my last video that this fifth wave did not have to hit the trend line, which is true in a diagonal. It does not have to hit the trend line, but in this particular case, it needs to come and will probably need to come to this 1.236 here or just above it, because the third wave cannot be the shortest wave. And we have a very long one wave, a two wave pullback, a third wave, a fourth wave here. And we are going to need a fifth wave that needs to come down and be longer than the third. So if this diagonal is going to happen, then most likely this fifth needs to come down and tag the 1.236 sitting at 24,385 to be a ending diagonal. Okay, I needed to correct that from last video, and that is what we'll need to do. This is going to need to come a little deeper here, and we can do that by turning this into an A wave, popping up for a B, and then coming down for C, because it will need to be 3 waves to complete this A, B, C. Also, really quickly here, I said in my last video that please remember that a diagonal can also be an A wave, and we pop up for B and come down for C. It would turn this whole correction into a WXY. But either way, if it is a diagonal, we are going to get a relief rally. It can also be a wave 1, and this would not be good, okay, because that means we would be coming down really deep. But let's not worry about that right now. Let's see if it can even complete the diagonal. But I needed to correct that from last video. All right, let's go down to the lower time frame here. And let's take a look at this count. So we have this move to the downside. For this to become an A, a B, and a C, I feel we really need to hold this 1.618. Now, the way it's looking right now, I don't think we're going to hold it, guys. Now, yes, an ABC can come as deep as the 2.23 sticks and still be an ABC. But this C is getting to the point where I don't have any more one waves up here to use for this C wave. And we'll get into this in a moment here. So that's why I feel that if it's going to be an ABC, it really needs to hold this 1.618. Okay. Now, if it can do this, then most likely the scenario, the probability is that it will use this 3 waves this 3 waves, and then it will pop to the upside for a partner leg. Panning out real quickly here, that would most likely be the scenario in my last video of the W, the X, and the Y. Unless we can continue to climb in the channel that I talked about in last video and get up there for the D wave of the triangle, which it can do that. It can continue to climb correctively and get up there for the D. But if it's going to do this, we really need to make this ABC. Okay? And let's get a little closer and let's take a look at this wave to the downside. Okay. Now the reason that I'm saying that, and let me see if I can get a little closer. There we go. The reason that I'm saying that this is getting a little extreme for a C leg is because I've got an inner 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third. Now I need another 1 wave. Well, the only way I can make a 1 at the top up here is to make this an expanding diagonal. Otherwise, it's all 3 waves up in here. So to give it the benefit of the doubt, I've made this an expanding diagonal. So now I have another 1 that I can use. Well, it's used now the 4 of it. I don't have any other 1s over here to compensate for another 4 wave and 5 wave. So what can this do? Well, what it can do is use the 1, the 2, 3, 4, 5, but we're still going to come down to the 2.236. So unfortunately, and we've got 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 in here. So we have 3 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2s in here to compensate, which means we need 3 4th and 5ths to the downside, which means this leg is most likely coming down to the 2.236. And the way to explain that very easily is when you get a 1 and a 2, and then you get a smaller 1 and 2, and a smaller 1 and 2, and you go down, you need a 4th and a 5th for each one of these 1s and 2s. And in this case right here, we've got, like I said, a 1 and a 2, then we've got a 1 and a 2, and a 1 and 2. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that's okay. We've used this one. Now we've got 1, 2. All of this is 3. This will be 4. This will be 5. And now we still got to use this one, which is probably going to bring us down to this 2.236. Unless we get some kind of miracle here and we push to the upside. Maybe it wicks through and pushes up, and I'm just wrong about this count, and that could be very possible. But as it stands at the moment, it looks like it, the probability-wise, as it comes down there. Now, we had really nice divergence between this 3rd and 5th, and now we made it between this one. Okay, but we're failing again. We're making a corrective move in here, which means it is going to roll over again. Hopefully, it will create another divergence between this 3rd and 5th on the 1 hour. And because we're having these multiple divergences, it means that we're trending in a much higher time frame. So, if we cannot break this pivot right here in price, which I don't know if we'll be able to do that, we'll be able to hold on to this bullish divergence. But if we break it, we're going to wipe out the divergence we have from this pivot and this pivot, which means now we'll be trying to pull a divergence from this pivot back here. But we're very, very close to that pivot. So coming down again, we need to not take out this pivot in price to hold on to this divergence on the 4-hour and on the 8-hour. So on the 4-hour and 8-hour, we're resetting ourselves. And on the daily, we're trying desperately to hold the bullish territory. So this tells me that we are trending on a daily time frame. So if that is the case, and that's the way that I'm looking at it, the daily really needs to hold 30, just like it tried to do here, if we're going to be able to kick to the upside here. And that means kicking with a 3, a C wave 3, and up to the upside. Otherwise, then I see this coming down. If this makes 5 waves, it's going to pull back for a wave 2 that could be very shallow, guys. Don't expect a big wave 2 here. And then we're going to come on down in the rest of the wave there. Okay? Which means, you know, we could make the ABC for the diagonal here. And it gets on down there. Or it's not the diagonal. And we're going to make a much deeper W, X, and this is going to turn into some type of Y that's going to come deeper. Okay. Let's move on over to ETH. And ETH I haven't done in a little while, so let's talk about the options still on the table. They're the same options as Bitcoin that I talked about in last video, so if you haven't watched that, I would take a look. We have the triangle left. Now, to get up here, same thing as Bitcoin. We're going to need to travel in some type of channel up there. So we really need to hold this as an ABC so that we can kick off and travel correctively in some type of 3-wave move to make this D, which would most likely at this point be a WXY. Okay? All right. If we're going to make this ABC to the downside, we are going to need to kick off, like I said, hold this as an ABC and kick off. But unfortunately, this is still going to be a 3-wave move, which means that it's going to use this leg as a W. This leg, depending on how high up it can get, if it can get to the 618, it can be a B or an X, and then it's going to come down to the downside for a Y or a C. Now, the higher the X, the higher the B, the better, because it means that we can pull this leg up higher. So we really need this 3-wave move. We really need it, guys. Because if we don't get it, it means that this was our X and we're coming down for Y. Okay. Now, there's one more count here. I'm not fond of it, but it's not invalid. It's weird that this wave here was an ending 5th of this ABC potential zigzag. Or it was the 5th wave of this potential 5-wave move. And to be honest, we do not know which one it is yet. We don't know. It could be an ending 5th, or it could just be an ABC zigzag. I do not see it as a wave 1 anymore because of what's happening over here. So what it would assume is that we started the C from here, and we have a 1, 2, 3. This was all a 4 that came into the prior 4, and now we're going to come down for a 5, and potentially we could hold this 1-to-1 at 1890. Okay, but we would, for this count to happen, which would end up being an A, a B, and a C, we would need to finish this 5 waves, which means more rollover to the downside. If we pop up with the 3-wave move, it's going to invalidate it. Okay? And if we pop up with the 3-wave move, well, that definitely means this market is coming deeper to the downside. This is the only count. And the expanding diagonal on Bitcoin that we have the potential to end this, and the market has a chance to go. But when it gets here, if it can complete these counts, which is the 5 waves for ETH and the expanding diagonal for Bitcoin, at that point, we have to come out of here in 5 waves, nothing else, if we want to continue this bull run here. Okay? If we get down there and we make 3 waves up, well, that means we're coming back down, guys. Okay? So we have some options on the table here that we have to really just play wave by wave. This is the same thing as Bitcoin here. That if it's going to be an ABC, I really feel it should hold this 1.618. If it comes deeper, I'm going to have no choice but to use this wave back here for a 1 and make it a 5-wave move. And we know what starts with 5 ends with 5, meaning that we are coming deeper. We will pop up for a B or pop up for a wave 2 and then come deeper to the downside. And we do still have this gap here. And we do still have the gaps on Bitcoin here at the bottom. So the best hope for both of them is for Bitcoin to complete this diagonal and let it be an ending diagonal. And we come out of here in 5 waves. And ETH to make that 5th wave for the ABC count, make the 5th wave. I know that it would be more downside, but this is the best scenario for both. It gives the market an ending and gives it the chance for a beginning. Okay? Again, one more time, if we make 3 waves, if we pop to the upside here without completing the 5 waves down and we pop up like this, well, that is what makes a connector. Okay? And we will be using this whole entire leg attached to this 3-wave move and to the downside much deeper. Okay? So I know this was quick. I know it was short, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, let me know in the comments. And think about joining the Discord because we would love to have you. And everybody have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. I'll see you in the next one.